Maneka Gandhi vs. Union of India. Plaintiff, Maneka Gandhi. Defendant, Union of India. Facts. In July 1977, the passport of Maneka Gandhi, a prominent journalist and political activist, was impounded by the Indian government under the provisions of the Passport Act, 1967. The government justified its action by citing public interest, but did not provide any specific reasons for this decision. The Ministry of External Affairs sent her a letter informing her about the impoundment and gave her no opportunity to explain or challenge the action. Maneka Gandhi filed a writ petition in the Supreme Court of India, arguing that the government's action was arbitrary and violated her fundamental rights guaranteed under the Constitution, including her right to personal liberty under Article 21, her freedom of speech and expression under Article 19, 1a, and her right to travel abroad. The case presented significant constitutional questions regarding the interpretation of Articles 14, 19, and 21 of the Indian Constitution. At the core of the dispute was whether the right to travel abroad could be curtailed without a proper, fair, and just legal procedure. Issues before the court. First, whether the impoundment of Maneka Gandhi's passport violated her fundamental rights under Articles 14, 19, and 21. Second, whether the procedure established by law under Article 21 must be fair, just, and reasonable. Third, whether there is an inherent right to travel abroad as part of the right to personal liberty under Article 21. Fourth, whether the principle of natural justice applies to administrative actions, such as the impounding of a passport, and if so, to what extent. Decision of the court. The Supreme Court, in a landmark judgment, ruled in favor of Maneka Gandhi. The court significantly expanded the interpretation of Article 21, holding that the right to life and personal liberty cannot be curtailed except through a procedure that is just, fair, and reasonable. The court observed that the government had failed to provide sufficient reasons for the impoundment of Maneka Gandhi's passport and that the action violated the principles of natural justice, particularly the right to be heard, audi alteram partem. The court declared that a law depriving a person of personal liberty must not only comply with the formal requirement of procedure established by law, but also pass the tests of fairness and reasonableness. Furthermore, the court established that Articles 14, 19, and 21 are not mutually exclusive and must be read together. This marked a significant departure from the earlier interpretation, especially the restrictive approach taken in the A.K. Gopalan v. State of Madras, 1950, case, where Article 21 was interpreted narrowly. The judgment held that the right to travel abroad is encompassed under the broader right to personal liberty under Article 21, although it is subject to reasonable restrictions in the interest of public order, national security, or other valid concerns. However, such restrictions must meet the test of fairness, reasonableness, and non-arbitrariness. Case analysis. The Maneka Gandhi case is widely regarded as a landmark in the evolution of Indian constitutional law, particularly in the interpretation of Article 21. Prior to this case, Article 21 was given a narrow interpretation, as seen in earlier cases like A.K. Gopalan v. State of Madras, where the court had upheld that personal liberty could be curtailed through any procedure established by law, regardless of its fairness. In the Maneka Gandhi case, the Supreme Court overruled this earlier approach, holding that procedure established by law, under Article 21 must be fair, just, and reasonable. The judgment fundamentally shifted the balance in favor of protecting individual rights against arbitrary state action. It expanded the scope of judicial review, making the judiciary a more active guardian of fundamental rights. The case also established the interrelationship between Articles 14, 19, and 21. The court held that the deprivation of personal liberty must satisfy the requirements of Article 14, equality before the law, and Article 19, freedom of movement, speech, etc. This interconnectedness ensured that no right could be curtailed arbitrarily without considering the broader implications for an individual's fundamental freedoms. In addition, the court placed great emphasis on the principles of natural justice, particularly the right to a fair hearing before administrative actions. The judgment underscored that the government's discretionary powers could not be exercised in an arbitrary manner and that the reasons for any action, such as the impoundment of a passport, must be communicated to the affected person, ensuring that they have an opportunity to challenge the decision. The judgment also paved the way for future judicial interpretations that expanded the meaning of life and personal liberty under Article 21. Following this ruling, Article 21 came to include a wide range of rights, including the right to privacy, the right to a clean environment, the right to shelter, and the right to health, among others. Importance. The Maneka Gandhi case holds immense importance in the development of constitutional jurisprudence in India. Its significance lies in several key areas. Expansion of Article 21. The case marked a turning point in the interpretation of the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21. By ensuring that any law curtailing personal liberty must be fair, just, and reasonable, the court broadened the scope of Article 21 and reinforced its role as a protector of individual rights. Relationship between Articles 14, 19, and 21. The court's ruling emphasized that these three articles must be read together, ensuring that personal liberty cannot be deprived without meeting the standards of equality, fairness, and reasonableness. This created a strong framework for judicial protection of fundamental rights. Judicial review of administrative actions. The judgment reaffirmed the principle that all administrative actions must comply with the principles of natural justice. This strengthened the role of the judiciary in checking arbitrary actions by the executive, ensuring greater accountability in government decisions. Recognition of the right to travel abroad. The case affirmed that the right to travel abroad is part of the broader right to personal liberty. While this right can be restricted, the restrictions must meet the standards of fairness and reasonableness. Departure from A.K. Gopalan case. The Maneka Gandhi case overruled the narrow interpretation of Article 21 adopted in the A.K. Gopalan case, moving Indian constitutional jurisprudence toward a more rights-oriented approach. This shift marked the beginning of a more progressive interpretation of fundamental rights. Legacy and future impact. The principles established in this case laid the groundwork for subsequent judgments that expanded the scope of Article 21. It influenced the court's decisions in landmark cases such as Francis Corley Moland vs. The Administrator, Union Territory of Delhi, 1981, and Olga Tellis vs. Bombay Municipal Corporation, 1985, which extended the right to life to include rights such as dignity, shelter, and livelihood. In summary, Maneka Gandhi vs. Union of India is one of the most important cases in Indian constitutional history. It broadened the interpretation of fundamental rights and emphasized the importance of fairness, reasonableness, and non-arbitrariness in state actions. The case continues to serve as a foundational precedent in the protection of individual liberties.